What's up, everybody? Louis here again. Just want to do a quick recap. UFC Vegas 77. I did okay. I went 9-4. Tough card. A lot of people both fighters. A lot of fights where both fighters were coming off losses, so a little tough there. But overall, it was an enjoyable card. There wasn't much to expect, but I thought it was okay. First fight of the night, actually, Evan Smith and Alan Perez, women's bantamweight. Alan Perez, that was a no-brainer there. So actually, Evan Smith just like I saw on the tape, just slow, just kept getting taken down, couldn't get off the bottom, ate a lot of shots on the ground. That's what it is. And then at 155 men's lightweight, Alex Munoz and Carl Deaton, pretty good fight. Munoz seemed a little hesitant in the first round, and they were kind of going tit for tat on the feet. Munoz wasn't able to get the takedowns, but then in the second and the third round, he was able to start landing his strikes, and whenever he really committed to throwing a hard strike, he'd throw the straights down the middle. He was able to rock him and hurt him several times in that fight. And the third fight of the night, flyweight, men's 125 pounds. Tyson Nam and Azat Maxim. I took Azat, and pretty competitive fight. Didn't go exactly the way I thought it was going to go. Azat had trouble getting him down, and Tyson Nam was able to stick and move, hit Azat with some decent shots, kind of stumbled him back at times, used good leg kicks, but Azat was able to land some big shots in there as well. He was really scrappy. He was able to clinch him up when he needed to, make it a little bit of a dirty fight, and didn't let Tyson stay at range. And split decision. I thought Azat got it done, but it was closer than I thought it was going to be, but we got it done. And then in lightweight, 155 pounds, Evan Elder and Gennaro Valdez. I went with Gennaro Valdez. I thought he'd be able to find a big shot, and he just couldn't. And Evan Elder hurt him, rocked him a couple times. Valdez kind of had his moments like I thought he would, but he couldn't get it done. But that was an underdog shot that I took. You know, I kind of knew Evan Elder was a better fighter, but I thought maybe he could get it done, but couldn't do it. Then at featherweight, 145 pounds, Ostalingo, Melchizedek Acosta. I went with Costa. I was a little nervous about this one because Costa was a little pricey, and it's only a second UFC fight. And, Ostalingo, he's lost his last couple, but he's a veteran. But Costa looks pretty good. He landed some big shots. He was able to get to the ground when he needed to, landed some decent ground and pound. And we know he can go 3 rounds at least. The first round, he's landing a lot of flashy kicks, a lot of spinning back kicks, and we thought it looked like maybe he would run out of gas in the second and third round, but he was able to continue it throughout the fight and got a 3-round decision. So pretty good victory for him. And then women's strawweight, 125 pounds, Victoria Dudikova, Estela Nunes. I took Estela Nunes just because she's the underdog, but that fight did not get going. Nunes posted out to defend a double, and her arm snapped, unfortunately, within 35 seconds. So, yeah, that was tough. Then the main event of the prelims, featherweight at 145 pounds, Tucker Lutz, Melsik Bagdasarian. I went with Melsik, and pretty good performance from him, pretty good victory. I was pretty confident about it. In the first round, they're both kind of trading body kicks. And then Melsik landed some overhands and some jabs. But then Tucker gets a double on the fence, but he just lays there. And Melsik kind of had some trouble getting up to his feet there throughout this fight, but he was able to keep away from the takedowns. Then in the second round, Melsik, he was landing some body kicks and some teeps, a couple jabs and some hooks, standing at range. And then he's able to rock him with a check left hook. Then he starts ripping the body. And then Melsik lands some counter hooks and some uppercuts whenever Tucker wants to go in there and try to make it dirty. Then Tucker gets a double leg at the end there, but couldn't really get anything going there. Melsik did a good job defensively on the ground. Then in this third round, Melsik was landing some counter hooks in a pocket exchange, but then Tucker was able to get to the single and he takes his back, but Melsik was able to stand up, lands a couple knees from the clinch. And then he's able to land some spinning back kicks and some kicks to the body. Then a head kick, followed up with a left hook combination on the fence. So he looked pretty good. He got it done. He landed the bigger shots and didn't get in too much trouble on the ground. First fight on the main card, 155 pounds, men's lightweight, Nazim Sadikov and Terrence McKinney. I went with Terrence McKinney. He was a slight underdog, plus 120. I thought maybe he would switch things up, maybe use his wrestling more, and he tried to, but it did not go his way. And Nazim Sadikov seems to be getting better and better after each fight, and he's got some very strong power in his hands. Pretty solid fight though. Terrence looked okay in the first round. First round, Terrence lands a 1-2, and then he gets a double off the fence, takes his back, gets a figure 4. Rear naked choke attempt, looking pretty good. Then kind of starts to gas out a little bit toward the second round. He's not used to going past the first round. Second round, Nazim lands across, and then Terrence shoots to the fence, shoots a low single around the fence, and then Nazim's able to sprawl, cuts around the corner, steps around the ankle, hooks the ankle. Then he's able to take his back, and somehow he gets his arm trapped in there, and he gets the rear naked choke, and Terrence McKinney's arm's trapped in there, and there's nothing he could have done. To me, it looked like Terrence was a little tired, though. He wasn't able to elevate his level to scramble out of that position, so it was tough. Tough one to watch, but Nazim looked really good. I think you could do him and Francisco Prado, who we'll talk about later on, who won in the feature fight of the night. And then I think you could just do Terrence McKinney and Otman Zatar, because both guys would desperately need a win at that point, and 2 guys with big power. So I think it's a matchup that works for everybody in that regard. Second fight of the night, women's featherweight, 145 pounds, Norma Dumont, Chelsea Chandler. I picked Chelsea Chandler because she was a slight underdog, and also I thought she'd be able to outstrike Norma on the feet. And from the tape I watched, Norma just likes to clinch a whole lot. And I thought Chelsea would be able to piece her up from range. Not the case at all. It was the exact opposite. Norma Dumont has a lot of power. She tried to finish this fight on multiple occasions. She hurt her on multiple occasions. Pretty fun fight. Pretty exciting, actually, compared to what we're used to. In the first round, Norma lands some counter hooks and then hurts her. And then Chelsea just runs away headfirst into the cage. And then she eats a flurry. But then she lands some left crosses and clinches to the fence. But then Norma gets a trip takedown into full guard. And Chelsea landed a couple counter shots, but not enough to keep Norma off of her. Then in the second round, Chandler lands some straight combos, but then Norma is able to land some counter hooks, lands some heavy leg kicks, hurts her pretty bad with those, and then she's able to rock Chandler with a 1-2 whenever she gets pressed, whenever Chandler's kind of trying to walk her down, and then Norma's able to get the body lock trip takedown yet again. And then in the third round, Chandler just starts, she goes 4-2, a better round. Starts pressing with some straight shots. Then Norma is able to lock up that body lock again, and then she's able to take her back, hook the ankle, then transition into full guard, just land some nice ground and pound, and she stayed busy the whole time. She didn't just clinch; she was able to actually get her takedowns this fight, and Norma Dumont looked really good. The only bad thing is what's going to happen at 145. I think they're probably retiring the division. This might be the last fight on each woman's contract. Who knows? But I think if Norma can get back down to 135, I think she could be a player because she's on a nice win streak. Just had a good performance against Chelsea Chandler. I think maybe it would be fun to see her at 135 if she can do it. If not, it's a shame. But okay, third fight on the main card at middleweight, 185 pounds. Albert Drive taking on Jun Young Park. I took Jun Young Park. Not too much of a difference in the line. Jun Young was minus 150, and I was going back and forth. I wanted to take a dog shot on Duraev, but Duraev's fight against Chidi and Jaquani, he just did not wrestle enough. His cardio didn't look good, and it was a split decision against Chidi, and I thought Jun Young's wrestling would be enough to negate Duraev's, and it was pretty much for the most part. The striking was what I was worried about, but Jun Young, he was lighting him up with the jab the whole fight. Duraev landed a couple big shots in there, but Jun Young's got a decent chin, and then later as the fight went on, Jun Young was able to back out of range and make Duraev miss those big shots. The first round, Park was in and out. He lands some jabs, and then Duraev starts landing some big counter hooks. They were big shots in the right cross. Then he kind of chases them with some hooks. But then Park is able to back out eventually. He makes Duraev miss. He'll just kind of circle out, and then he's able to catch the kick. And then he pulls the guillotine with 20 seconds left to go. Tight guillotine, a true submission attempt. And Duraev was able to survive. He put the thumbs up at the end. And, Jun Young, I thought he was going to blow his arms out, but he looked good in the second round. So, I don't know. I guess you'd give the first round to Jun Young because he ended the fight in a very tight guillotine, ended the round in a very tight guillotine. Then the second round, Duraev gets a double, and then Park is able to get his back up against the wall, able to get up. He's able to finally break free, and then he presses forward with some jabs, but then Duraev landed some counter overhands when Jun Young's walking into him. Also lands some hooks, but then Park, he's able to get his jab going again, starts adding the right crosses this round, and Derive, and it's a little caught off guard by that, it seemed like. Then he starts ripping the body up against the fence, lands a flurry, rips the body, rips the head, drops him with the left hook, then he takes his back, gets both hooks in, some nice ground and pound, finishes with a rear naked choke submission, classic club and sub from Iron Turtle. Very good performance from him. Now, Jung Young, he's on a pretty decent win streak. I believe that's 3 fights in a row. And at 185, he had that setback against Gregory Rodriguez. But, Gregory Rodriguez can knock anybody in the planet out. So, I thought that was fun. And you got, let's see here. His ranking right now is, okay, so Albert Drive was number 30. And Jung Young was a little bit below that. You got Caio Braulio taking on Andre Muniz next weekend. So, maybe the loser of that fight, because you got Caio at number 17, Andre Muniz at number 16. I think Jung Young is very close to getting a ranked opponent there. And I don't think there's any shame in losing to Gregory Rodriguez. Rodriguez is number 28, but that's just because he's coming off a loss against Bruno Fierro. So, maybe he could do that. But, yeah. Very excited. He's putting together a good win streak. He's a tough guy. I like watching him fight, so I think he can possibly make a run into the top 15. Featured fight night at 155 pounds, men's lightweight. You had Otman Azaitar taking on Francisco Prado. Azaitar kind of needed a win here pretty bad. He had a lot of hype coming into the UFC, especially after his first fight. Then he got knocked out by Matt Frivola. And Francisco Prado looking to make a name for himself. And I knew it was going to be an exciting fight coming in, probably the end of the first round. It was minus 110 either way. I just went with Prado, and didn't have much confidence in Azaitar, and that's pretty much how it turned out. Azaitar was unable to find that big shot. In the first round, Prado shoots, but his double attempt gets stuffed. But then he's able to land some step-in hooks. And then Otman, he's able to land a couple counter hooks, but didn't really land flush, and wasn't able to put him down. Then Prado lands a spinning elbow whenever Otman goes for that clinch attempt. Gets him down to the ground, kind of drops him, kind of pushes him, and then he just TKO via hammer fists, and it just looked like Azaitar just didn't have much on the ground, didn't want to get up. I don't know. Maybe he was hurt more than it looked like, but yeah, as Prado gets it done, not too much to talk about there. I just think if Azaitar can't find that big shot, I don't know if he has much else, unfortunately. But I would do Prado versus Sadykhov, and then I would do Otman Azaitar versus McKinney. I think McKinney and Azaitar, that's going to end in the first round. And then Prado and Sadykhov, two guys up and coming. Neither one of them was like a superstar, so if one of them knocks each other off, I think it'd be okay. But I think that'd be a fun fight. I think that's what they should do next. Co-main event of the evening at 170 pounds, men's welterweight. You had Jack Della Maddalena taking on UFC newcomer, stepping in on short notice, Basil Hafez. Tough for Jack Della. He had to make 2 weight cuts in 2 weeks. And another opponent change. And this was a huge opportunity for Basil, needless to say. And yeah, very tough fight for Jack. He made some mistakes, but he was able to get it done. And, it's kind of like the Lopez and Evloev fight. For whatever reason, sometimes that these high regarded prospects, they take a short notice opponent, they have a tough fight. It's kind of how it goes sometimes, but Jack passed the test ultimately in the first round. Hafez gets a double, and then Jack pulls the guillotine. Bad decision. He gives up his back, but he's able to get to his feet, presses him toward the fence, throws his straight shots. He's able to land some jabs, starts ripping the body a little bit. He's able to land a couple hooks, but then Hafez lands some counters, and then he's able to get the double leg after that. But Jack's eventually able to work back to his feet. Jack lands a flurry, and they both kind of throw hooks, but then Hafez gets a double as well. Jack kind of overstepping a little bit. But then in the second round, Jack is able to stuff the double leg this time, lands a couple jabs. He's able to cut off the cage, rips the body again. Then he's able to land a left hook to the head. Then Hafez lands some wild counter hooks, but then Jackson starts landing mostly in the exchange. He's able to stay at a good distance, and he's able to clip him at the end of his punches. Then he's able to stuff the double leg again, but here he had a shot he could have snapped down and went behind. He pulls the guillotine yet again, And then Hafez is able to reverse. Hafez gets 3/4 mount. Doesn't land any ground and pound though, so he's on top of him for about 2 minutes, I would say, but he didn't do any damage. And, you know, Jack, I thought he did some substantial damage before that, so I would give it to Jack, but I could see how people might think the judges could give it to Hafez. And that was on Jack. He did not need to pull that guillotine. Didn't even need to go to the ground with him. He could have just stayed standing with him. I don't know what he was thinking, honestly. But then in the third round, Jack's able to stuff the double leg again. And then he's at range. He kind of keeps the high guard. And then he starts landing a jab. And then he's able to land his left cross, starts adding that in. Then he's able to rock him with a counter right hook in the pocket exchange, standard right uppercut, left hook, starts ripping the body, gets a little flurry going up against the fence again. Then he's able to stuff the takedown attempts from Hafez. They're just kind of sloppy and coming from too far away. He's able to land another flurry. And then he's able to grab his wrist up against the fence, lands a couple right crosses while he has that wrist. Really interesting. Then he's able to stuff a double leg attempt. He's able to take his back, land some nice ground and pound. He gets both hooks in, but then he gets a little high. Kind of looks like he might be thinking about a rear naked choke, and then he swings over and he tries to go, looks like he tries to go for an arm bar, but then he tries to grab the single, get up, and he's able to get up to the feet though, and yeah, stay out of danger and get the victory. And it was a split decision. I don't agree with that whatsoever. I thought it was clear as day. Jack wins 2 and 3 off of damage. What are you going to do? Just looks like, you know, Hafez came in on short notice, had a good first round, couldn't keep the pace in the second and third round. Understandable, but Hafez had a hell of a debut. And, you know, Jack gets it done because he was supposed to fight Sean Brady. He fell out. He beat the guy that went in front of him. It was tough, but he got it done. That being said, I think they should just do Jack and Sean Brady again. I think that'd be perfect. And, you know, that might give people some trepidation because, you know, if he pulls a guillotine against Sean Brady, it's not going to end well. But I think that might be a test that he will need. And Sean Brady's number 8. Jack Della is number 13. And Michael Chiesa is fighting, or you could do Neil Magny, but I think you do Neil Magny with Ian Gary. So, or Vicente Luque, that'd be a fun one. That'd be a banger. You could do that possibly. But I think the Sean Brady fight, that'll answer a lot of questions. And, you know, I think Jack, you know, he got a little taste of the grappling experience, and I think he'll have some things to work on and hopefully can get better for that fight. But yeah, good fight, awesome fight. Both guys fought their hearts out. Can't ask for much more. Main event of the night at 135 pounds, women's bantamweight. You had Holly Holm taking on Mayra Bueno Silva. I just picked Mayra Bueno Silva. She was a decent-sized underdog. And, you know, Holly Holm, 41. How long is she going to be doing this for? And, you know, Mayra Bueno Silva's on the rise. Holly Holm, she's already had a couple of title shots. And Mayra Bueno plus 140. I like that one. Also, it's women's MMA at the end of the day. So I took the underdog. And, you know, pretty decent fight. Good performance for Mayra Bueno Silva. First round, Holly just has some nice, she's stepping side to side. She's moving in and out. Her movement looks really good. And then she blitzes to the body of the head. She throws a 1-2-1 combination. Then she's able to get the underhook clinch up against the fence, which is kind of her patented move at this point, or lately anyway. Then Mayra, but she's able to land some big hooks whenever they're in the clinch. And then Mayra just kind of staying patient, looking for those big shots, but they are landing, so that's a difference. Then Holly, she blitzes again, gets up to the fence, but Mayra stays calm, doesn't get taken down. Holly wasn't really going for the takedown either way, but Mayra did okay in the clinch with her. Then in the second round, Mayra lands a right cross, and then Holly goes for the clinch, gets the underhook again, trying to push her head into her chest. But then Mayra stuffs her face like that, gets her head down below her chest, walks up the ninja choke, and she's able to get the submission, standing submission. So, yeah, pretty interesting. I think that's must be a thing with women's MMA and like high-level fights where you get a standing choke of some kind. So, yeah, pretty interesting. She got it done. Holly Holm, she just doesn't quite have it. Championship-wise, she can still win fights, still have some fun fights, but championship-wise, it's probably the end of the road, unfortunately. But yeah, Mayra looked really good. And then at 135, obviously Amanda gave up the belt. I think they're going to do Juliana Pena and Raquel Pennington for the belt. I think Mayra Bueno should just fight for it next. Why not? She's just beat a legend, and I think that'd be the most anticipated matchup. I think that'd be the best to get new people to be interested in the bantamweight title. She's coming off a big name, so now she has a little bit of star power. I think that's how they do it, and I think her versus Raquel Pennington or Pena, the winner, I think it'd be a fun fight. All right, everybody, thanks for riding with me. Appreciate it. Did okay. Wasn't a great card, but this weekend we got Tom Aspinall taking on Marcin Tybura. should be a fun one, and I'll just tighten up a little bit. I think I did a better job with the underdogs this time, but I did make some stupid choices again, like betting on Valdez. Shouldn't have done that. And then with the women's, you know, what are you going to do with that one? I still stick with the underdogs. Well, yeah, all in all, I did all right, and had a winning record. So thanks, everyone. See you this weekend.